Hello and welcome to another episode of the Crimson Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Balian, alongside Colin Caggiano, and today we are joined by two very special guests. They are both candidates for the Burnsville Borough Council, Bob Frawley and Daniel Woods. How's it going, guys?
Very good, thanks.
Doing good. Good morning.
All right, so just get it started. Can you tell us, what's your message? Tell the voters what they need to know.
Dan, go ahead.
I think first and foremost, we want to be representatives for the people of Burnsville. We aren't representing any developers. We're your friends, your neighbors, and we want to support the people of Burnsville. And that would be my message, that we want to put the citizens of Burnsville first.
And in that regard, we have three issues that we're running on. The first is downtown development. The second is communication with the town. And the third is coming up with a plan to deal with Rushman Farms, the Meadowbrook Farms that, when you drive north on 202 coming into town, the big farm that's out on your right.
Yeah, so if you can just explain what's going on for that.
I'd be happy to do that. Rushman Farms, it was bought originally by Mr. Rushman back in the 30s to set up a factory to make glitter. And you'll hear people talking about the glitter factory. It's used for fashion things. It's also used as chaff for fighter planes, when they try to distract missiles. But it's been there since the 1930s. And Mr. Rushman died, left the property to Mrs. Rushman. Mrs. Rushman passed away, and there are now three heirs, three children. And the property is going to be split up between the three. However, when Mrs. Rushman passed away, she didn't have a plan to split it up. She just said, please divide it up, approximately equally among my children. And that's where the issue came up. The three children, the estate, actually, the separate entity, there's the estate and then the children who are beneficiaries of the estate. The estate went to get a subdivision right with a proposed subdivision, but some of the heirs didn't agree with the proposed subdivision. So our Board of Adjustment, zoning board, basically said, look, we can't really do anything for you until you guys agree on how you want it split up. So that's where it sits right now. And what we've been proposing is we'd like to sit down with the Rushmans, have the town sit down with them, and tell them the types of things that are available. For example, there's farmland preservation grants, there's open space money. There are a lot of available money there, depending on what you want to do with the property. So if one heir wanted his third to be a farm, maybe there's a farmland preservation grant that would be available to him. But we would like to be at the table and talk to them and put this stuff on the table so that they know what's available when they're making their decision. My goal really would be to have everybody come in on one side, have them have a plan, have us approve the plan, and have it go through.
And I think what we really want to avoid is a situation where that land gets developed and it might be possible to have some of it developed, but what we don't want to see is some big AI data center moving in there, or some huge apartment building complexes, or that all to be divided out and become, close together one-family homes. So, it's a beautiful space. We want to preserve that. And we don't want to see it turned into something industrial or, large-scale residential.
And then what would you say to the people, maybe the naysayers, who might not realize the benefit that this would have to the community? So my question is, what are the benefits of your proposal, and what negatives is it going to eliminate if somebody else takes over?
Sure. So I think the benefit is what we're proposing is that we actually make an agreement with the Rushmans and have the borough at the table when they're deciding what they would like to do with the property, so that at least the town has the ability to have an input. Whether or not we are able to all come to a mutually satisfactory agreement is, up in the air. It's still to be seen. But we don't want to be completely out of that process and have no voice whatsoever. We'd at least like them to be able to hear what would be what we think is mutually beneficial for the town and for them. If we're not at that table, then it's completely out of our hands, and we don't have any say whatsoever, and they can end up doing what they want with it. and we'd prefer to avoid a situation where there is no council input.
The open space is a benefit. The
Absolutely.
borough has open space funds available for acquisition. There's a stream that runs through that. That's Mine Brook runs through that, and the Environmental Commission has focused on this for a number of years. But open space is a benefit to the town, and aside from the fact that it's just beautiful when you drive up 202.
And there's also funding available for projects that connect communities, and it might be possible for us to tap into some of that in order to get some trails that go into Peapack Gladstone, or connect surrounding communities. So that would be a benefit as well.
So there's a lot of talk about development. And over the past few years, there's been stuff in the newspapers about the Palmer project. Can you just explain what that is for people who don't know exactly what that is?
Sure. The Palmer's, first of all, Palmer project right now is pretty much a done deal. It's going to go ahead as it was drafted. One of the purpose. Let me go back a step. If you have a city or an old industrial site, for example, that was in some of the old North Jersey cities, where you really would like to put something nice there, like an apartment, there's a law. And I forget the name of the law, but it provides for the town to set up, it's called an area in need of redevelopment. And when you do that, you get exempted from the current zoning laws, and you encourage a developer to come in and build something useful on the property, an apartment building, something like that, as opposed to being an industrial wasteland. The council decided, I forget the year, a couple of years ago, with respect to the Palmer property. Now, the Palmer property is it's right in the middle of town on Olcott Square. As you're coming over the railroad bridge into town, it's on your right. It's that property on the corner.
area.
The corner of 202 and Mount Airy Road.
Right across from the
Rebecca
British Cafe.
Collection.
Rebecca, next to Rebecca Collection, across from the coffee shop. That
Movie
area.
theater. all
Yeah.
that.
Movie theater, big open, big parking lot there. The town declared that to be an area in need of redevelopment, and they hired a developer, Advanced Realty. It's actually the developer's actually an affiliated company, but Advanced Realty came in and they made a proposal, and it was a 4 or 5 story apartment building. The planning board actually disapproved it. The Borough Council overrode them and approved the project. So that project is going in 67 apartments. 67. It was 68, but they reduced it to 67. And there'll be parking there, and there'll be retail spaces along the ground area. The big issue in town, people think it's too big for where it is.
And
4 stories, 5
it goes
stories.
beyond what local zoning would allow. And as Bob was saying, the designation of an area in need of redevelopment exempts them from the local zoning. So density, height, minimum setbacks, all of those things, they don't have to obey the zoning regulations because of the designation of the area in need of redevelopment. It also opened them up to a form of tax abatement called the pilot program, payment in lieu of taxes, which I think is a major issue and should not have happened.
Okay, we could explain it. You guys don't pay property taxes, but we do, and your parents do, I'm sure. But basically, when you pay your borough property tax, for every dollar in tax, 25% about goes to the borough, where they pay the police, run the town, fix the roads. Let's see, it's probably
just under 60% goes to paying the schools
to buy this wonderful podcast room and other stuff. When you get a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes, the developer is exempted from property tax and instead makes a flat payment to the town, to that 25% of the pie. The schools don't get anything.
And the county doesn't get anything.
So what we're opposed to is that. We think if you're going to come in and you're going to build a nice building and you're going to have people live there, you ought to comply with the zoning and you ought to pay your taxes. You ought to support the schools.
And the reason that a developer wants a pilot as opposed to the regular taxes is because they pay less. So they may pay more in municipal taxes. So instead of paying, on that dollar of 25 cents, they may pay 80 cents to the municipality. But then they're not paying the 60 cents to the school and the
10 or 15 cents to the town.
The county. So ultimately, they're paying 80 cents on the dollar and keeping that extra 20 cents as revenue for the developer. So they're shortchanging the school, they're shortchanging the county, and yes, they're paying more to the municipality, but it's robbing the school and the county and increasing the developer's revenue. And I think that's wrong. And if elected, I could pledge for both of us. We're not going to approve pilots.
No pilots.
It's not fair to the schools. It's not fair to the county. It ends up putting that tax burden on all the rest of the citizens who are tax-paying members and who don't get a pilot. I don't get a pilot on my house. Bob doesn't get one on his.
Right. I don't have any kids in the school. I'm 78, right? So,
but we still recognize the need
school
for funding the schools. So,
I want to bring up the point that it's too big for this town because there's a lot of debate. I know someone said we're not Morristown. We're a town of 7,000. Can you explain why it's bad to have a 4-story, 5-story apartment building in a small town of 7,000?
It's just out of character for the downtown right now. I mean, if you drive downtown, the 5-story, interesting, when they did all their projections and their artist conceptions and all that, they never showed the building next to the current buildings.
Yeah.
So it's going to be as tall or taller than the what is it? The former church.
The Mason.
Mason.
Building.
I keep thinking Elks. The Mason's building. It's going to be as tall as that, and it's going to go straight out to Mount Airy Road. So that's pretty big, and it's really not in character. It's going to be bigger than anything else in town.
Yeah, and I would also say that a major issue with that is you've got 67 families living there. That's a lot of cars that are going to be backing up on 202 and Mount Airy Road. And you guys look old enough to drive. I'm sure that at some point in time you've been stuck at the top of Mount Airy Road trying to get down that hill. 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and it takes you 4 lights to get through it. It's just going to be even more traffic at that area with all the people who live there, all of the retail, all of the Amazon trucks delivering stuff to people who live there. So it's just too big for that location, which is why they had to designate it an area of need of redevelopment so they could skirt all of those zoning laws. And we want to see that not happen with other parts of downtown that are also looking at being redeveloped.
And then transitioning into one of the other development issues that you brought up across your campaign, Quimby Lane. Can you explain what's going on with that and what you intend to do?
Sure. Well, I can say that not much is going on right now. I'll leave it to Bob to tag in with the history of the project. But right now, there's been no progress over the last 5 years. And as to what we'd like to do, we'd like to see some progress happen. And I think we've got some ideas about how to make that happen. But I'll let Bob fill in with the backstory, and then we can discuss.
It's a very simple answer. We just fire Advanced Realty.
Yeah, exactly.
In any case, a number of years ago, Palmer Project, that area was also declared an area in need of redevelopment. And the original project envisioned the Quimby Lane area, which is the block that's where the movie theater is. It has Mount Airy Road or Mendham Road on one side, Quimby Lane on the other, Mill Street, and 202, that square block. Originally, that was going to be essentially redeveloped, and they hired one. The plan was to hire one developer to take care of all the redevelopment. That was Advanced Realty. Advanced Realty got the contract and then basically hasn't done anything with it. They were supposed to acquire all the properties in that area, and it's interesting because there's a number of, what was the number, like 21 or 22 properties.
Yeah, and like 19 different property owners.
And 19 different owners.
Some of them are people involved.
Some of them are condos. Some of the little retail stores are condos, which means it's like a house. You got to buy that. They have acquired a couple of properties but the properties are vacant pending this redevelopment. That's why you drive down there and you'll see the vacant stores.
I mean, the businesses on Alcott Square that are empty, and no one wants to put the time and money and effort needed to build a business and build a brand and put their heart and soul into it just for it to get yanked out from under their feet when the Quimby Lane project actually happens. So, I mean, the stagnation that you're seeing there is a direct result of the lack of progress in redeveloping Quimby Lane.
So, I mean, what has to be done? First of all, I think we've got to get rid of AR. We have a right to terminate the contract because they haven't performed. And that's simple. You terminate the contract. Then I think you got to take a good look at that statute that set that up and see, was that really a good idea to put all those properties in one plan? Maybe we've got to do it in pieces. But you know, you'll sit down with I would sit down with the Board of Adjustment, with developers, and get some ideas. But it's clear that what we did already isn't working, right? We got to do something different. So that's our proposal.
I think one of the things that
slice it up.
we've discussed about that is splitting that up. It's so hard to get 19 people to agree to sell you their properties. But if we divided that into smaller sections for redevelopment, and then you're dealing with maybe 3 or 4 property owners here, and another 2 or 3 here, and then another 5 here, that's doable. You know, you can work with those people, and once you start seeing development there, then we think that, you know, the dominoes are going to kind of fall, and you'll be able to negotiate with some of the owners more successfully than AR has done so far.
And maybe some places should be left alone. Maybe the
Sure.
strip along the street should be left as it is. I had a friend come visit and was driving down 202 and said, "This is an area in need of redevelopment, but needs to be redeveloped. This is very nice." So, but that's all. We would put that all on the table.
Absolutely. Something happening is better than what's happening. Nothing, which is happening right now.
And then just to wrap up this episode, just a couple quick words. Why should voters vote for Woods and Frawley in the 2025 Borough Council election?
I think that from my standpoint, we're here to represent the people of Bernardsville. We're not here to represent the developers. I don't care if they make the most amount of money possible on, you know, building on a lot. I care what's best for Bernardsville, and that's what I want to see happen. I'd like to keep the charm, improve it, absolutely, but there's a point where you get to a scale that is no longer Bernardsville, and I'm worried that we're approaching that point if we keep on the path that we're on.
And I think you need another set of eyes to look at stuff right now. I mean, the council makes a lot of decisions unanimously, and George Patton, General Patton, was reported to have said, when everybody's thinking alike, somebody's not thinking. So I think you need another set of eyes on the council to stand back and look at things critically and encourage questions and debate.
All right, that'll just about wrap up another episode of the Crimson Podcast. Another thank you to both Daniel Woods and Bob Frawley for joining us on this episode. But for Colin Caggiano, I'm Ben Balian. We'll talk to you next time on the Crimson.